All right, this was a really well done job, especially because there was no model for this one. There's only an easy level perimeters question in the blue book, and so this was an original question, and the producer did an excellent job with it. A couple things, there are just two things that I wanted to talk about. The first is when I took a first look at this, I thought something seemed a little bit off about it, and I think what it was this 3, 3, and 3. I've just never really seen that. And I started thinking about it to myself, well, how is the SAT different? And the thing that they would do in this situation is they would write something instead of this, they wouldn't have these things here. What they would do is they would write something like this. In the question, they would say, ED is 6 and A is the midpoint. So it's a really small thing, and really a smart student is going to take no time at all to fill that in as 3 and 3. But I was just thinking a really small detail, but that's probably how that one would be written. E to D is 6 and A is the midpoint. One final thing on this one. So I do like the answer choices here. They're asking for the perimeter of this quadrilateral right here. And so one of the things I did when I first did this question, I worked through it. And basically what I did was I added up 3, 3, 3, and 4. And I got 13. And then I got this, and then I was trying to find this piece right here. This piece right here. And I did that by saying, well, this is 1 and this is 6. So this would be the square root of 37. So what I ended up getting with this one was the answer 13 plus the square root of 37. And then I looked, and none of that was that wasn't an option on here. And I realized, oh well, I was trying to find the perimeter of this entire thing. I made a careless error. So what I was thinking is, if you ever notice it, go ahead and put those errors in your choices. If 13 plus square root of 37, because that would be a really tempting thing. Anybody who made the same careless mistake I did would have chosen D. So again, this is a great way to make questions even better, is to put as answer choices things that students can get if they do it a slightly wrong way or make a careless mistake. Again, this is a perfectly good question. I'm just adding in some really small things that could make it even a little bit better. And that is it. It was a really good work here. Okay, guys, I want to start with this easy area of a triangle question. They tell us that the perimeter of it is 18, which means this is 6, 6, 6, and then they ask for the area. So we basically just have to do 1/2 base times height. The base is the 6 cut in half, so the base is actually 3. We don't know what the height is, so we use the Pythagorean theorem. 3 squared plus the height squared equals 6 squared. 9 plus h squared equals 36, and so h squared equals 27. And then we just use the 1/2 base times height. The 3 times the height is the square root of 27. So that's this. So that's actually about as hard as it gets for an easy level area of a triangle question. We had to use 2 different formulas, and it even took me doing that about a minute to do. But it's still an easy level question. It's just a hard level, or the hardest version of an easy question. But then we come down here. We have this question. So this is a hard level area of a triangle. And so keep in mind, like, when our students are using these questions, they're all going to be grouped together. So it's likely that a student will do a playlist of area of a triangle questions. And so we really kind of want to avoid just having the same questions over and over again. And if you look closely at this question, what it says is that there's two triangles here, ADB and BDC. ABD is isosceles, 5 centimeters, so this is also 5 centimeters. And then they tell us that the total area of this thing is 25. And then they ask us what's the area of this triangle. So basically, if we just found the area of this triangle, of ADB, we could just subtract that from 25, and we would be done. And in order to find the area of this triangle, we just do exactly what we just did on the previous question. We use the Pythagorean theorem to find the height. This will be a 3, 4, 5 triangle, and then we use the area of the triangle formula so that this just ends up being 12. And then we just subtract 12 from 25. So we're done. You know, this doesn't help a student who's working through these problems, because a smart student who got the previous question is going to very easily get something like this. You know, all this is to make it a hard level. I mean, that's jumping up 2 whole levels. And all that happened to the question was what we just added this extra part, which is really pretty easy. So, you know, I'm a question. I think it's fair as a medium level question. But the problem is it's so repetitive. We're just basically doing the same thing we did on the previous question with one extra little step. Again, this falls into that category of questions I call ancillary, which means, you know, we could use it on a quiz or something like that, but it's not one of our best questions. I don't know if we'll use it to make a video or anything like that. It's usable, but not great. I just want to compare this really quickly to this question, the original question. Look what's going on here. So this is a medium level area of a triangle question. And this is pretty interesting what's going on. You know, they've got QS related to QV as a fraction, 1 to 3, and then PT related to PR as a ratio of 3 to 4. And then they're asking you what's the area of this triangle, PST, to the area of this triangle, PQR. So it's really a pretty interesting question. You're basically just doing PST 1/2 base times height, you know, the area of that triangle, and then you're doing the area of PQR, and you're doing 1/2 base times height for that. But they don't tell you what the base and the heights are. They express it in a ratio form. So, you know, it's actually not that difficult. You can just plug in numbers. But you can see how it's pretty interesting what they're doing. I mean, they're just asking about the area of a triangle in a really different way. So it makes for a good question, and this is a medium